I think by now everyone figured out that we were going to start 2020 with a fight. So I thought I was going to take New Year's Eve just a little bit easier, try to get over this really bad flu cold thing that I have going on, get my voice back. But then I bothered to actually take a look at my news feed, look at my alerts, and lo and behold, it looks like they're not even going to wait for the ball to drop first. They just said go ahead and file a motion in court right now. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's take a look at this article from CNBC. I'll also have 2 other articles on standby. Everything, of course, will be linked down below so that you can take a look for yourselves and make what you will out of the whole situation. From CNBC, Uber, Postmates, and 2 drivers sue California over law that would reclassify contractors as employees. Published Monday, December 30th, 2019, 8:01 p.m. Updated 4 hours ago. So right off the bat, key points right here, right up at the top. California passed the Assembly Bill 5 in September, and Uber has previously committed money for a ballot initiative that could exempt it from the law. So it's a fairly short article. We're going to read through it, and then I'm going to discuss what I think is actually going to happen, because it is kind of following a track that I did outline. They are definitely not going to follow through with this. They're going to either take it to court or force a concession, but let's get through the article first. Uber, delivery startup Postmates, and 2 contractors who work for the companies filed suit against the state of California on Monday, alleging that the recently passed Assembly Bill 5 is unconstitutional. The law, which is set to go into effect January 1st, 2020, would require gig economy workers to be reclassified as employees instead of contractors. The case represents one of the biggest challenges yet to law that could limit the operations of on-demand services, like ride-sharing and food delivery. AB5 is an irrational and unconstitutional statute designed to target and stifle workers and companies in the on-demand economy, wrote the companies, which filed the complaint alongside Uber driver Lydia Olson and Postmates delivery driver Miguel Perez. The filing in the U.S. District Court for Central California claimed that the law carves out nonsensical exemptions for roles such as direct salespeople, travel agents, grant writers, construction truck drivers, commercial fishermen, and many more. It also alleged that a delivery truck driver delivering milk would not be affected, but one delivering juice would be. Uber and competitor Lyft are among the companies that pledged hundreds of millions for a California ballot initiative to propose an alternative model. Lyft declined to comment. California represents 9% of our global rides and eats gross bookings, but a negligible amount of our rides and eats adjusted EBITDA, respectively, Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi told analysts on a conference call last month. We continue to focus on a path that we believe provides a very attractive option for drivers and couriers where they retain flexibility but gain important new protections like healthcare subsidies and minimum earning standards. The law affects far more than gig economy companies. Freelance writers and other types of contractors are also affected. Earlier this month, CNBC reported that Vox Media planned to cut freelancers in California as a result of the passage of the bill. Here's the lawsuit, and you can see here, you can go ahead and download this copy of the entire lawsuit as a whole. You can take a look at it, do some deep reading. Now there should be a few interesting points that really jump out at you here. So let's take a look at the participants. It just names Postmates, Uber, and 2 drivers from each of the companies respectively. You still have DoorDash and Lyft unaccounted for. Do not be surprised if they have something else in the works that they're going to come in if this doesn't go through, or they can come in at the same time. They can file something right after the first, who knows? That means that there are going to be 2 cases going on at the same time where the validity of this bill has to be upheld in a court. I'm sure as drivers, you've already followed who's who in the rideshare business. But for those that actually haven't seen my video about AB5 or the bill's author, I suggest you take a look at that because it'll give you a better understanding of the frame of mind that she's coming in with all of this legislation. I know it's going to be very difficult because there are a lot of pieces in play here. There's no one easy video, less than an hour long, that can sufficiently explain why this law potentially damaged everything going forward. You already have the bill's author herself admitting that large swaths of this bill were arbitrary. Now they're raising the fact that the exempt industries look totally arbitrary as well. If they keep up a sustained court battle, eventually someone might just say, you know what, why don't we just negotiate with them? And I know I said this in a previous video, but then what they're going to negotiate is not going to be what a lot of these people who trusted these officials to work in their best interest, it wouldn't really elevate them to a level that they were expecting. Because I think in another previous video, I already outlined exactly how the company can say, you're already being provided this stuff. We're just going to continue providing it for you. This is what you're going to get, and we're going to make it official and put it out there in writing saying it covers this section to this section to this section. Here's why I think that they're going to try and railroad this through either way. This bill affects way more than just rideshare drivers. It affects people in industries that are, you have to admit, are pretty powerful in today's society. You have the media. Despite not being a trusted institution, they still influence how people think. You have translators and interpreters down by the border who are affected by the lack of work because their contracts were just terminated as soon as this passed. You have a lot of people within California who are really upset about this. So who's going to get the short end of the stick? The drivers are. You know why? Because this was already nicknamed the Uber and Lyft bill. Everyone is saying go ahead and regulate them but leave us alone. Now just think, if they negotiate for something in the middle, do you really think you're going to get a sweet deal out of this? Do you really think anything's going to get any better? Do I need to remind you what your interview process was like when you signed up to join and drive for rideshare? There was none. It's a very low barrier to entry. So that being what it is, what makes you think they're going to keep you if you don't have a good, stellar record? What makes you think that they're really going to look out for you when you are easily replaceable? This ties into my other videos about automation coming. Everyone needs to think carefully about how they want to proceed here. The next year is going to be very crucial, and it's going to be very important for people who do want to continue in the rideshare industry for whatever reason. You know, maybe you like making extra money. Maybe you've got a particular route figured out and, you know, with 40 hours you're pulling in some really crazy money and it's worth more than what you get working at McDonald's, especially if you know how to use a good financial planner and they can explain to you what you can and can't deduct. So I know we started talking about this article and then I kind of went off and did a little mini stream of consciousness rant. And I just want to say, you know, 2019, it's been pretty wild. Let's take a look at 2020 and let's think beyond just feeling mad or feeling happy that such and such is going to pass and we're finally going to get respected. Remember, you weren't respected enough to be interviewed. You just showed up with your car. What do you think you're going to get? You really need to think about this kind of stuff and be wary of people who are encouraging you to go down this kind of road because they're trying to sell you a pipe dream, and the only people that are going to get rich for it are the lawyers that have to represent you. But like everything else, I mean, hey, I could be wrong. Why don't you follow along so that you can go ahead and tell me to my face one day? You know, follow. You know, instead of just leaving me a thumbs down, tell me why I'm wrong. I want to hear it. Let's talk it out. That's one of the beautiful things about this country. Open debate. We can talk like gents. Do I know everything? No, nobody does. Anyway, it's New Year's Eve. You guys stay safe out there, alright? You have people that want you to come back home, celebrate, and see the rest of the year with. Don't get tangled up in stupid situations or with stupid people out there. Alright? Be good. Do well. Let's go make some money, especially tonight.